So yesterday I came up to this stoplight when I was driving, and there's 2 lanes. There's actually 3 lanes. A lane to go make a left turn at this light, and then 2 lanes to go straight. So I was the second in line. There was a car in front of me, and then I was the second car, and there was a whole bunch of cars behind us. And so there's a car in front of me, and then to my right is another car in front. They're side by side. They're both the front of the line. And the light turns green. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, 1001, 1002, 1003. 1004, 1005, and these guys are not moving. So I'm like, nobody else is gonna do it, I suppose I'll do it. And I do honk honk, and that wakes them both up, and they go forward. You know, there's a bunch of cars back there. They're holding back traffic and maybe making it so long that somebody that's been waiting for the light to turn green, by the time they get to the light, it's gonna be red, you know? Because the two leaders of the line are not paying attention, you know. And I could guess. I couldn't see what they were doing. I could probably just guess because I see it all day, every day while I'm driving. Since I drive so much, I will always see somebody that's not paying attention because they're playing with their phone. People are so addicted to their cell phones that they get behind a wheel of a vehicle. And now, as you know, a lot of people die daily, yearly from car accidents, right? And so your vehicle can either be a tool used to get you around, get you where you're going, get others where they need to go, or it can be a weapon. And it turns into a weapon when somebody gets behind the wheel and they do negligent things, or maybe they drink and drive and such. Did you guys hear recently about the young couple in their early 30s, just got married? I can't remember where it was at. It wasn't here in California, it was somewhere else, but they just got married, and they were showing video of the wedding celebration and the bride and the groom and how happy they are. And then they get in a golf cart and go to their destination after the wedding celebration to go to probably their hotel or whatever they're staying at. And on the way in the golf cart, a girl that was in her 20s who had been drinking beer and tequila. She was going way over the speed limit, driving drunk, and smashed into them, instantly killing the bride and injuring the others that were in the golf cart with them, including the groom. And they showed pictures of his face up close, and it was really bad. See, that's when a car becomes a weapon. How are you using it? Are you using it appropriately, or are you just not caring and you don't realize? You know, I know that girl didn't realize she's going to kill somebody. She might have been one of those people that they believe, or they trick themselves into believing that they drive better if they've had a few. So, you know, lots of accidents are caused. Years ago, I had just purchased a 1971 Volkswagen Beetle, and it was even the mellow yellow color. And so I always had people honking at me and waving, and guys doing punch bug to each other, if you know that game. And it was a cool little VW Bug. I was driving a BMW at the time, and I sold it so I could buy this Bug because I wanted that more. And I lived in a little beach town called Ocean Beach here in San Diego, and I didn't really drive outside of my territory. I worked there. I worked there. I did my shopping there. My gym was there. So anyway, I probably had that bug for maybe a month or 2 or 3. I can't remember, because it was like back in 2011, I think, is when this happened, near 2012. I was at a red light, and suddenly somebody smashes into me, rear ends me. I didn't even see it coming, and totaled the Volkswagen Bug. The engine is in the rear of the vehicle, so he smashed it all up, and the engine just gone. And the dude got out of his car, and he was, "Oh man, I didn't even see you. I was texting a friend of mine because I'm supposed to go to a golf tournament, and I couldn't find where I was supposed to be. I just flew in from one of the Carolinas. I can't remember, it was North or South Carolina. And he had just gotten to the airport, got a rental car, and drove into me." I mean, he said he just got the rental car, and he was all upset because he smashed up a rental car. And anyway, it was from texting and driving at the same time, looking down at his phone. As soon as he looks up, I'm there sitting at a stoplight for I don't know how long, and suddenly I just get smashed into. So anyway, the reason I'm bringing these things up is, when you sit at a light, like these 2 people that were in front of me that I had to give them a honk so they'd wake up and go, I'm imagining the person in the car to the right is depending on the guy to the left. When he sees that guy's car move, that's when he knows to move. And maybe the guy on the left is waiting to see when the car on the right moves, because maybe he's looking down at his phone, and maybe he'll notice the car moving, and that's when it's time to move. So they're relying on each other, on others, instead of relying on themselves to pay attention to the traffic light. Those lights and stuff, and the speed limit signs, those aren't there to prevent you from having fun and getting away with what you want to get away with. They're actually there for your safety and the safety of others. You understand that, don't you, as a driver? They're not rules to make you not be able to have fun and go the speed you want to go. It's actually for your own safety and the safety of other people. Now, it's your job to apply those rules to your life or not, right? And if you break them, you take the risk of having consequences. I can't imagine being the person that hit another person and killed them. I just can't imagine myself doing that and then living with that. I can't imagine it. I couldn't even imagine what that must feel like. It's got to be terrible. Making one stupid decision and it changing the life of yourself and the lives of others as well forever. So it's kind of like I'm comparing this with when God gives you the green light. Are you depending on somebody else to tell you when it's time to move in whatever you are called for? You have purpose. Everybody does. Just some people aren't aware of what their purpose is. But if you got a calling on your life, are you waiting for your religious leaders or some other person to tell you when to go ahead, like when you match whatever things they think you should be doing, all their qualifications? Or are you moving in the Spirit and you're tuning into God? And when He gives you the green light on something, you just know that you know that you know that that's God moving in you, letting you know time to go forward. You don't need to wait for the dude next to you, see if he moves ahead and you guys can flow at the same time. No, you are going, right? Some people that are sleeping at the wheel and you got to give them a little honk like, hey, wakey, wakey, time to move. But but the important thing is you apply that green light to you, to yourself, when God gives you the green light. If so-and-so wants to sleep when the green light comes up and they're not paying attention, that's up to them. But as long as you're tuned in to the Spirit of God that lives inside of you, you'll know what the go-ahead is. And sure, it takes patience, right? Just like when you're sitting at a red light, sometimes it's frustrating because when is this thing going to turn green, And sometimes I think we think about God that way, like, come on, God, when is this thing going to happen that you told me was going to happen for me? When am I going to move into it? And don't be surprised if, you do get a green light, but then you come up to another light at some time and that thing turns yellow, which means slow down, and then it turns red. And then God takes you in a different direction. Now, I can speak from experience that kind of stuff happens to me all the time. Doesn't mean the direction he had me going in to start with was the wrong direction, but now it's time to take a turn and go in another direction, moving with the Spirit. So you've got gifts God has given you, and you have a calling. And let the Spirit direct you how to use those gifts and to move in that calling. You can get help from other people and encourage others and all that. Of course you can. But it's your job to tune in. It's your job, right? And you don't have to wait for somebody else because those people just might be sleeping at the wheel or jumping the gun. I saw yesterday, I was coming up to a red light, and to my left was the left turn lane, and the guy had a red light on his too to turn left. And across the street from us was a vehicle waiting at their stoplight. And that vehicle's light turned green for them to go left, but on our side, it didn't turn green. But the dude wasn't paying attention to the light. He just saw the vehicle in front of him making a left turn, so he made a left turn. And thankfully, he didn't get smashed by a car and get himself hurt or hurt the others that were driving that didn't see that guy suddenly pop out in the road. Because he wasn't paying attention, but when he saw somebody else move, he thought, oh, it's my time to move too. And it wasn't his time to move. His light was still red. You see what I'm saying about waiting for somebody else to tell you when to go? It just might not be the right timing for you, even though eventually, you are going to go, but it might not be your timing. Just like if you had a child and you have an antique car sitting in your garage and you love that car and you're like, you know what, my child's inheriting this car. So it's planned that it's the child's car, but you don't give the keys to the child until they are of the appropriate age to drive. And maybe not only that, but they have skill. They've practiced driving other vehicles so that you can trust that they're going to take care of this antique car if they're going to drive it around. It's all about the timing, right? When do they get the green light? It's not you withholding it from them because you're such a mean father or mother, parent. You're just looking out for their protection and wanting them to take care of something that you've given them and use it right. What, are you going to give a 4-year-old the keys to the car and say, here, go drive. This is your inheritance. The timing is off. Yeah, maybe it is the inheritance of that 4-year-old, but it's not time for them to use what they've been given. And, that's something I've battled so much too is, I have all these things in me that I know God's called me to, and they're desires in my heart. But, were they active? And why did it take so much time for this certain gift to activate and then others took a different amount of time to activate? I don't know. But the one thing is, it's good to trust God because he knows, and he knows what's going on. And he's not there to rob you of your fun or your goals or to make life worse for you because your timing's a little bit different than his. It's not that at all. It's just that he has the foresight, right? Just like if God controlled the red lights and the green lights, he has the foresight. He knows what other vehicles are coming in one direction that if you pull out, you're going to get hit if it wasn't time for you to pull out into that traffic, right? So that's how God is. He has the foresight. He sees all things, past and future and present. He's there. He already knows everything. So it's best to wait on his green light because he is a loving father that wants to serve you good, not evil, right? We just got to know this and believe it and tune into it, right? And wait for that green light and be patient with God, be patient with yourself, and also be patient with others as well, right? Anyway, I got to get going. I love you guys. I hope this has blessed you. I hope you all have a great day, and we'll see you all next time.